Hi, my name is Deanna Jenkins, and I'm a realtor here at First Realty in Cookeville, located at 116 South Low Avenue, right across the street, right directly beside of the Justice Center. And so the reason I'm making this video is because I feel like that everybody out there needs quality content on what the process is to go through and purchase a home. First thing that I recommend doing is going to reach out to a lender. There's several local, or you can get online and do your research and find out who's going to give you the best rate, who's going to be able to be the best fit for you and what your family needs. Whether it be, what type of term loan it is and things like that. And, that's what I recommend doing is just getting online and researching about those and find somebody that fits with you well. Find somebody that's good at communication because ultimately, with real estate, it's one big process. It takes the realtor, it takes the buyer, it takes the seller, it takes the list agent, it takes the lender, and it takes the closing company, which a title or even a, uh, you know, um, attorney if that's what you want to use, or a title company. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is start the process of taking out a loan, because in the market the way it is right now, you're not going to be able to submit an offer and not show the sellers, hey, here's proof that I can purchase your home. So you'll go through that process, and there's quite a bit of paperwork that goes along with that. That's why you definitely want to get somebody that's experienced and knowledgeable about the business. And then decide, if you're a VA, if you're a retired vet, that VA loan might be something of interest to you. If you're in a certain income bracket, there may be a specific type of loan for you and your family. And you'll go through that process with your lender. And then once you get there, then comes the fun part. You will be able to go through the process of, looking for a home. You find out what price point you're in, because you want to make sure that you're in the, you're not looking for something that's, $50,000 out of your budget, or you want to look at homes that, who knows, you may be able to get a line of credit far bigger than what you would have, first thought. So you definitely want to get that exact price point. That way you're not getting your hopes up, or, you're not setting your, the bar too low, because you might be able to get more than what you think. And then once you decide that, especially for first time home buyers, this really is, a critical part of the process. And for people that's never purchased a home, this is the best tip that I can give you, is to reach out to a knowledgeable, experienced lender. And then I highly recommend going through the process and figuring out your location. Do you want to be in, if you're looking here in Middle Tennessee, do you want to be in rural Middle Tennessee, or do you want to be inside the city limits? Because there's a lot of other things that you'll have to take into consideration if so. Because, for instance, if you're looking for a home in Jackson County, you're not going to find a whole lot of restrictions because it is so rural. You're not going to have to pay very high property taxes. You're going to get a better bang for your buck, if you will, versus looking here in Cookeville. Cookeville is it's the middle landing spot between Knoxville, Nashville, and Chattanooga. You got an airport within an hour of each, hour and 20 minutes each way. Maybe a little bit more going towards Knoxville or Chattanooga, but ultimately within 2.5 hours you could be at an airport, and that's kind of driving the price point a little bit higher here. So you definitely want to figure out what your area of interest is and where you want to be. You need to figure out square footage, and that's where, working with an experienced agent comes into play, because you may think, okay, I will be fine with a 1,400 square foot home, but you need to go inside and see the layout of 1,400 square foot homes, because there may be a better option for you. Like, say if you have 3 kids, you may be open to a 3-2 with a bonus room, or you may be open to a 2 bedroom with a fully finished basement. And those are just things that you have to take into consideration when you're looking, as a family, what would actually work for you square footage wise. And then, you have to take into consideration, okay, are we wanting to buy something with acreage? because that'll eat into a lot of your money that you're going to be able to spend. And then you have to make sure that the home will appraise for what the list agent says it's worth. Um, so that's where an experienced agent comes in. So the first thing that I would do is, oh, okay, I would set up an appointment. We would go look at, 3 or 4 homes. I don't like to show a client more than 5 homes in a day's time, because if you do that, everything runs together and you forget what you've looked at, and it's just overwhelming because, guys, this is ultimately the biggest purchase that anyone will ever make in their life. And you have to be working with somebody. Two things that I think are critical. You have to work with somebody who you are comfortable with, and you have to work with somebody that is knowledgeable. And also somebody that's not so prideful that they can't say, okay, I've been doing this for 3.5 years, but you know what? I don't know the answer to that, but I've got a broker and I've got a colleague that's got 100 years consecutively together. Let's ask them, because there's so many different scenarios, but ultimately you have to find somebody that you're comfortable with that can be a good fit for you and your family. Just like working with the lender, you guys have a choice in this. You are the customer and it's what fits you best. But again, I think that once you figure out what is best for you and your family, location, size wise, I like to set up maybe 3 to 5 showings in a day. And say if you're not tied to a specific location, then, we might start in Gainesboro and then head up to Livingston, and that way you can get a good idea of the entire, area. Okay, this is way farther than what we thought. This is too far out in the cut. Like, we want to be closer to town. And it's kind of like process of elimination. And then, once you go through that and you're like, okay, we've looked at, 5 different counties. We've set up, showing after showing. We're dead set. We want 1,800 square feet, no basement, 1 acre in Sparta. Okay, so then we hone in on it. I set you up on a search, which will notify you anytime something comes available in that area. And then hopefully one of the homes that we've seen up there will be of interest to you and you will want to submit an offer. And then in the process of doing that, you want to make sure that the agent that you're working with runs the numbers. You have to have somebody that can run comps for you. Because why pay more for something than what it's really worth? The market's tapering out enough to where we're in a good place. It really is a buyer's market because there's still so much inventory right now. But you can still negotiate a price and you can still get in there and submit an offer and get an accepted offer, which is the key to this, to be able to close on something. So I recommend having an agent that can run numbers for you and get you within an exact price point of what the home is really worth. So once you do that, then you decide, okay, are we going to do this contingent upon home inspections? And what that consists of is usually the buyer, unless you're working with a VA loan, the buyer has to pay for the home inspections. And then you have 10 days normally to request those to be done. And then you go through the process of that. And then I usually like to make it 4 days to negotiate those any issues that might come up. But I definitely recommend looking into doing home inspection, termite inspections, and I recommend going with whoever, Google, do your research, ask your agent who they recommend you using, because you think about this, guys. You want to go with somebody who is knowledgeable, somebody that is reputable, and somebody that, is used to doing inspections for, this kind of work. So then once you go through the process of that, then you'll get the home inspection back and you'll sit down with your realtor and you'll go through the process of that and decide, hey, we want this, this, and this fixed. And we want it, we want to make sure these things are done. You submit a repair proposal. Then you go through the process of the sellers, okay, we agree to all this, or yeah, we're not doing that. So then that's where the negotiation skills of your agent comes into play, because you want somebody that's going to, do whatever it takes to fully stay ethical, but protect you in the best manner possible. Somebody that is going to go to bat for you, somebody that is not going to be scared to be bold in what they're requesting and what's required of them as an agent. And I think that's very important. But you also don't want somebody that's going to, try to get a deal to close no matter what, because ultimately, if the home inspection comes back and there's a lot of things wrong with it, do you really want to move forward on a house that needs a whole bunch of work? So that really is where you kind of have to figure out what you want to do with the repair proposal. And then once you get an agreed amount, a time frame that all this stuff is done and completed, then you move on to the process of the appraisal, which is ordered by the lender. And then they're like, okay, it's worth this. And then we're going to send everything on into underwriting and you're good to go. And then you go through the process of, you have the lender will send back all the information about what it's going to cost you to close, how much money you bring to the table, and then you close. And this is all of that in a 10-minute nutshell. But what I recommend is if you are interested in purchasing a home, you need to get with a good agent. You need to, my direct number is 931-979-0067. And kind of fill it out and see if it's for you, because what I can tell you is people that don't think they can buy a home can buy a home if you're working with the right lender, the right agent, and the right time frame. So guys, hit me up. I can be reached at, again, 931-979-0067, or you can reach out to me at Deanna, Deanna, at firstrealty.net, and first is spelled out. So, guys, I'm going to start trying to do these videos just because I want to build up my content. I want to get my name out there. I'm a new agent. I was licensed in February, but I worked in-house for over 3 years. So I've got a world of experience in that aspect. And statistically, some of the best agents that I see come with that background. And I've got a lot of people that I work with that have a lot of experience. So if I don't know, I'm not too prideful to not go and ask. And I'm very hip and familiar to this area. That's me being a local person from Bloomington Springs. I was raised in Jackson County there on Shepherdsville. I'm very familiar with this area. Plus, I've lived in Cookeville, for the last 4.5 years. So, like I'm pretty knowledgeable about this area. I'm pretty knowledgeable about property taxes and things like that. And if I don't know, I do know where to put you in contact with somebody that will know. So definitely give me a call if you've got friends or family looking to purchase. I would love to be your go-to agent. Thanks for taking time to watch, and I will be back soon with some more content.